Welcome everyone to Class 1A. My name is Dylan, bringing another My Hero Academia chapter breakdown. This week we have chapter 362, Light Fades to Rain. And get your tissues because we have an emotional chapter ahead of us. We pick up the chapter back at floating UA. Amajiki is blasting his vast hybrid plasma cannon at Shigaraki with a follow-up from Mirio. And then we get this epic panel of the beam shooting straight out of UA. But even Amajiki's best barely phases this version of Shigaraki. And this is also Shigaraki without any quirks too. Like, his quirks are totally shut off at this point. This is just his new form, and this is how strong it is. And the comparison to All Might in his prime here is absolutely nutty. Because, like, think about it. Like, he's got nothing else going on, and he's comparing him to All Might in his absolute prime. He's like 10 orders of magnitude stronger than any Shigaraki version we have seen yet. But someone is still here to fight. When a bloodied Bakugo stands up. Bakugo uses his stored up sweat beads all over his body as a cluster bomb, creating a giant explosion that engulfs him as well. And this is just such an insane move of like a level up of his quirk that we've never seen before. Like being able to take the sweat beads that are like forming into these balls and just explode them out of every pore of his body, literally. And this panel right here just really gets me. Like, as he's being overcome with all of these explosions, he's still thinking about Deku and how he always wants to fight to try to be number one ahead of him. And it seems like there's some reason that Bakugo is angering Shigaraki so much. Maybe it's something to do with the second user of One For All. Okay, and it's complete conspiracy theory time. I was a little skeptical at first. I thought, maybe they just look similar. That's the only thing that we're gonna go with off of the second user of Bakugo. But the more I think about it, and they're hinting at it more and more, there's gotta be something here, right? Like, they're not gonna tease this just for no reason. Like, do you think it's just coincidence that they look similar and that's the surface level, that's the only reason why Shigaraki is getting angered because he remembers him through All For One? Or is there something more here? Are we about to get into some crazy territory dealing with time and space? And then Bakugo sees the vestige of All Might, thinking how he just wished he could have asked him for his autograph. And then his heart explodes. And as rain rolls in, Bakugo is left seemingly dead on the ground. And that is where we end our chapter. Okay. There is an obvious thing that we have to unpack here. But let's just take a few steps back, because I just want to talk about two things I thought was super interesting and cool about this chapter. So first is obviously Amajiki. I want to see the vast hybrid plasma cannon animated. This thing is so incredibly cool. But also, it's completely wild that it just did not phase Shigaraki. I'm at the point of where his power level is so high that, he's just got to be talked out of this by Deku, right? We're going to have to see, therapist Deku come in to dismantle him. I don't know if he's going to match up in quirks here. Okay, so we got to talk about what just happened. It's why we're all here, obviously. Now, do we want to go down the path of being sad, he's dead, what are the consequences of that? Or do we want to go full copium right now? Because I think we're going to go full copium right now. Okay, so we know that Bakugo looks like the second user. Shigaraki even calls this out here. And we know that the second user's quirk is still being saved up for some reason by Deku. We have no idea what it is. And it has to be something to heal Bakugo, right? Or bring him back, or somehow just connect some dots with him. He's just not gone. And I feel like I'm being a little crazy now, but I think anything is on the table. Anything from dealing with time to resurrections, anything is on the table. And not only that, but this just solidifies that the movie is actually canon here. The fact that he's able to see All Might as a vestige, actually does mean he was connected to One For All at some point and now has that connection going on forward. And so now that we know that the connection is a real thing, he is connected for One For All, and he's connected to the second user in some way that we just don't know, what happens here? Does he go into the vestige state and he connects with Deku that way? Is he just dead permanently? Can he come back? What is going on here? This is absolutely wild to me. What's also wild is that Deku doesn't see any vestige of Bakugo ever. We see that All Might has his vestige form in there, even though he's totally alive, but just because he's disconnected from One For All. So does that mean Bakugo isn't connected in that way? Or is he representing himself maybe in a different light there? I think we're about to get into absolutely nutty territory at this point. Like I said before, anything can happen. I have no idea what's going to happen next with this. Legitimately no guesses here. The closest thing I can think of is the next chapter is going to be Deku's going to fight whatever forces he saw was coming. We're going to get a little bit of break from whatever's happening at UA. Deku's eventually going to come back. And whatever the second user's quirk is going to be something to bring him back in some sort of way. Bakugo's going to come back in some form. I don't know if his body, like his real form, is going to be back because his heart exploded, but in some way he will be continuing in the story. Like it's pretty obvious, I think. I don't think Horikoshi would kill off the most popular character of the entire series. But unfortunately, we're going to have to wait 2 full weeks to see what happens next. But it is going to be worth it because, oh my goodness, they're building up to something absolutely nuts here. I'm excited to read it with you all. So thank you all for watching, and I will see you all next class.